Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report a trade. Orlando has traded the draft rights to Chris Webber to Golden State in exchange for the draft rights to Anthony Hardaway and 3 future first-round draft picks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, I have 2 huge trades to announce for the Swaggle franchise. That is right. I was at WonderCon this past weekend, and I actually brought a few slabs in my collection that I was willing to, potentially trade or sell so that I could then take into purchasing a few books that I really wanted. And I was actually able to make some successful trades. So in this video here today, we're going to talk about the trades that I made. I actually did record me interacting with one of the vendors that I did make the trade with, and I kind of wanted to show you guys that clip and just get you to hear their perspective on what they're looking for when they do trades. Because I know a lot of you guys out there, might be going to those comic book shows, might be thinking to yourself, hey, maybe I can, not just purchase comics, but maybe I can make some trades. And I thought it'd be helpful to hear from a dealer's perspective of what, they're looking for when they're making those trades. So I'm going to kick it over to the footage that I recorded with that dealer. Of course, it was Brad Sloan from FEF Comics, so big shout out to him. I'll let you hear what he had to say, and then we'll come back here and we'll talk about the trade that we actually made. In coming to you for a trade, what's sort of the mindset? I brought you some books, and I was showing you guys talking to you about my targets. Like, what's the mindset of the dealer? Like, and how do you entertain trades? And what's that thought process?
Well, we certainly want people to bring us books to trade, because if we don't have one, if it's a really great wall book, if it's a key, the more the merrier. But you have to understand, any comic book store, any dealer has to instantly process the book, put their spin on it, grade it again if it's not graded, bag and board it, Mylar if it's a wall book, and then we have to sell it. And that may be a 1 day or 1 year. I've done some trades where it's taken years to sell. So we need to get a wholesale value on your book.
Right.
And if we're trading and you say, I want your book, well, I'm going to say, well, the cash price is my FEF discount. But if you're trading, I'm going to trade my retail price to you, and you're going to be trading me your book at wholesale.
Right, because then it's like, well, what's in it for you to just literally just swap a book?
You'll never get a dealer to go even for even unless it's exactly that kind of book. Like,
right.
If you have a Spider-Man 1 and you're trading me an FF1, well, I wouldn't mind doing an even trade.
Right.
If I like your book and you like mine, because it's just as liquid, just as valuable.
Right.
But very, very often, we're going to want a bump. We need a little extra. And the other thing you have to realize is that there's a new fad online of Comic Network on Facebook. These guys are all based on trading. They put up everything they want to trade. What do you got? Show me what you got.
Right.
And what they do for each other is say a value on the book. Let's say Spider-Man 1, $15,000 or $15,800 in trade. Again, the value, what they're looking for. If they're trading, you're supposed to be able to get more of a value. If you're buying it, you can sell it for a little less because it's cash.
Right. One of the things when I was showing you a bunch of the different books, I thought it was really interesting because you were commenting on them and you said, like, okay, this is cool, but like, I don't know if I want this, and this is interesting. And one thing that was interesting that you mentioned about that is that you liked that it was of a certain grade level, and because it had to replace a wall book for you, it was almost like you needed a book that was at that level.
Grade continuity.
Yes.
Yes. wall books really need to be shiny and bright, and unless it's, of course, X-Men 1, whatever, you put a 2.0 all day long. In the glass case, 1.0 Amazing Fantasy 15. But I like to specialize in 5s, 6s, 7s, 9s, 8s. They really look good together. They're shiny. So if I'm taking one down off the wall that qualifies, for me, a trade like for like, maybe not like for like money, but like for like product.
Right.
We want something shiny, doable, just right up there where that hole is. Fill the hole.
Right, like the brand, like it's almost like the brand of the book has to equal the brand that is your booth.
That's right.
Well, I hope that clip was helpful for you guys and maybe gave you some context into what dealers are thinking when they're entertaining trades at comic book shows. And I think that video actually did reveal to you guys what book I traded to Brad. So without further ado, let me reveal the book that I actually got in return for my trade. And this one, of course, is Avengers number 57. First appearance of Vision, one of the last major keys that I needed for my Avengers Grail run of 1 through 100. Brad had this book on the wall. It was one of the keys that I was looking at. And when I was, kind of going around the floor, looking at potential trading partners for what I was willing to give up, I definitely identified this book right here as being a good candidate. So basically, let's kind of go into the weeds of what the trade was. I mean, I brought a few different books. I had a Tales to Astonish number 63, first full appearance of the leader. I had a Journey into Mystery Annual number 1, first appearance of Hercules. I had a Strange Tales 111, first appearance of Baron Mordo, second appearance of Doctor Strange. I had a Marvel Spotlight 6, second appearance of Ghost Rider, and I had a Thor 134, first appearance of the High Evolutionary. Those 5 books were the books I was looking to trade. So what we did is basically I wrote down the values of what I felt like the books would be their liquid price for. So I basically showed him, hey, here are the 5 books I have. Here is how I value them in terms of like, a wholesale price or a liquid price. And with those values, we were able to kind of discuss like what books would he be willing to part with. Now, he wasn't interested in everything. And that's one of the things I think, in doing these trades, you have to kind of understand is that, you're bringing this trade to the dealer. So they have to be feeling like they get something that they actually really want, or that they're getting, the majority of the value of the trade. Because effectively for them, if it's an equal 1-to-1, I mean, why wouldn't they just hold on to their book? Like, what do they actually need the trade for other than to just, help someone out who, wants to get the book that they have on their wall? So they need to feel like they're getting that extra value. So not every book that I was offering was interesting for Brad. And the one book that he actually did have the most interest in was the Tales to Astonish number 63, because it was a book that he personally didn't currently have. It was at a grade level, a 6.5, that he felt like looked high enough grade on his wall, because that was something that was important to him too, which I had sort of valued at around $600 or so. And he had his Vision book right here, which, probably grades in the, 5.5, maybe it's a 5.0. It could be anywhere from a 5.0 to a 6.0, depending on the grade. And he sort of had this valued around $500 as well. So, he had a little bit more in terms of like equity value, at least on his end of things. But, he also was like, hey, why don't you dig through the bins and you can throw in another book. So he was actually able to throw me a little kicker because he's such a good guy. And with the kicker, I was actually able to grab for myself a Tales of Suspense number 66. And what is the significance of this? This is actually the origin of Red Skull, another book that was actually on my wish list for 2022. And one of the reasons why I like this book is that, I like that it's the origin of Red Skull, but on the top of that, in my opinion, this is actually the true first Silver Age appearance of the Red Skull. Now, you're probably thinking, isn't the first Silver Age appearance of the Red Skull Tales of Suspense number 65? Well, yes, that is true, but that is the George Maxson version of the Red Skull, not the Johann Schmidt version, who shows up in this book right here. And of course, Johann Schmidt is the character we know and love in the MCU. I think that this book is really undervalued because of the fact that like Red Skull is one of the most significant bad guys there is. And, the first Silver Age appearances for characters are definitely, things that people value in the market. And I feel like if we ever really get, Red Skull coming back into the MCU, which I think is very, very possible, this book right here and 65 as well will probably get hot in the market. So I was happy to add these 2 books in terms of their trade value for my Tales to Astonish number 63, a book that, as you can see right there over my shoulder, I already had a copy. So I had an extra one to sort of give away or to give into a book that I actually really wanted. But it didn't just stop with Brad, because after I made the deal, I wandered over to another booth and met up with Harry from Finest City Comics, where he actually had another book on his wall that I was very, very interested in. So I went up to him and asked him, hey, are you open to doing trades? And I showed him the remaining books I had. He looked through the books and he made mention that, yeah, he was interested in the Journey into Mystery book and the Strange Tales 111. So we got to talking and I pointed to one of the books that he had on his wall. We pulled up the GPA together of the Journey into Mystery book and the Strange Tales book. And he basically was like, look, I'll take the value of the most recent kind of average of the GPA sales, and basically, we can trade that equity into it. So, I took some time, I thought about it for a little bit, and I ultimately decided that yes, this is the book that I want. And the book that I wanted was this one right here, which is Silver Surfer #1 from 1968, the big premiere issue, first Silver Surfer series, or first Silver Surfer in title. This is the origin of the Silver Surfer. This is the origin of the Watchers. This is the first appearance of Shalaba, his love interest, and one of the great Silver Surfer covers. This is a book that I've really, really wanted to have for a long time. He had his one marked around like a VG plus. Maybe it could be a VG fine, depending on how the grader is feeling that day. It's a beautiful presenting copy, but it does have kind of a reader crease right along the spine here, so probably couldn't get above a 5.0. But he had it priced around the $800 price point, which basically was somewhat in line and equal to where the last GPAs were for the Strange Tales 111 and the Hercules book, which basically had them both around like 425, 450 or so. So again, in this situation, he had more equity that was going to him with the books, and that's because he is the dealer. He's trying to make money on this. I'm just trying to get the book that I want. So I know that, when I'm making these trades, the dealers have to feel like they're sort of winning out in that situation. So I was able to work that deal with Harry. I agreed to him in principle on it. And then I also asked him if he can throw in a little kicker for a book that I've actually never owned, one that I happened to notice that he had like 5 copies of them. So I figured he would be willing to give me this book. But this one he threw in was, of course, Infinity Gauntlet #1. In my Silver Surfer love, it was completed right there on the spot. I've actually never owned Infinity Gauntlet #1, funny enough, and every time I see it, it's priced, over what I feel like I want to pay for it. So I figured, hey, this might be the moment to throw it in this trade and finally give myself a copy of this book. So that was the trade I made. I traded Silver Surfer 1 and Infinity Gauntlet 1 for basically Journey into Mystery Annual #1 and Strange Tales 111. And ultimately for me, I was okay doing that because, as you can see behind my head, I already have another copy of Journey into Mystery Annual #1 and the Strange Tales 111 book. When I had originally purchased it, it was always my intention that I was maybe going to move on with that book to get a book that I actually really wanted. And even though it's a really hot book right now with Baron Mordo and the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie, and it's very, very possible that Harry might sell that book for whatever, $500, $600 or whatever the case may be, I'm happy just getting my hands on the book that I want in my collection. And if it does well for him, I'm going to be happy for him. So everybody gets to win in that situation. So for me, I walk away with 2 big books that I really wanted in my collection: Avengers #57 and Silver Surfer #1. Books that when I went into the show, I was hoping I was going to get, but I didn't want to spend the money. So it was really great that I was able to make these trades and walk away with the books that I really wanted. Ultimately, it brings me back to a comment that someone once put on one of my videos, and they asked me like, hey Swag, like when you're doing these haul videos or where you're doing these comic book hunting videos, don't you feel like sometimes you're spending too much money on, spec books and stuff and not targeting the books that you actually really want, a la like your Avengers Grail Run books? And basically what I said to him is like, for me, I'm just looking to find good opportunities and good deals and find equity in books, because for me, I'm eventually going to use that equity in those books to trade into the books that I really want. You're not always going to be able to find, say, a Avengers 57 or Silver Surfer 1. I'm not always going to be able to find those at good prices or good deals. So if I can find a Journey into Mystery Annual #1 that I got for a steal of a deal and then have it graded and ultimately be into both, the Strange Tales book and the Journey into Mystery book for like $200. Effectively, all I did was spend $200 to trade for this book right here. Similarly, with the Tales to Astonish 63 book, I mean, I think I found that book for, I don't know, 70, got it graded for whatever the grading fees are, 30, so I'm in it for $100. So I basically walk away with my Avengers book for $100. And that to me is one of the beautiful things about trades and finding equity in books when you're out there in the wild, is that even though it may not be the book that you want, you can eventually use it to get the book that you really do want. Well, that is all I have for this video. That was me showing you guys the 2 trades I made at WonderCon. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think I got fleeced and hosed for my trades? Or do you agree with me that walking away with the books that you want in your collection is ultimately what it's all about? Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next video.